If there's one thing that niche video game genres share, it's that they have a very steep barrier for entry. In this video, we are going to present to you a selection of visual novels that are both high in quality as well as approachable for those who are new to this genre. We are a new channel and we know that a lot of you are also new to the genre, so we want to help you guys get into it. We will try to explain why we chose these above other visual novels and what makes them friendly to any newcomer. However, just because we picked these in particular doesn't mean that you should ignore any other titles as your first introduction to VNs. The general rule is, if it looks interesting to you, just give it a shot. You never know where your next favorite game might be hiding. But for those who are a little overwhelmed by the sheer amount of VNs out in the wild, let us present you our personal recommendations to begin your journey into this wonderful genre. This video was written and researched by Miguel Marin, so please check him out over on Twitter. The link in the description you'll find him there. He's a big expert and I rely on him ever so much, so do him a favor and follow him. These are his words, not mine. What a better way to start the list, but with one of the visual novels that became the entry point for so many people back when it released, Katawa Shoujo, which just recently had its own 10th anniversary some days ago. What makes Katawa Shoujo such a great first VN is, well, first of all, it's completely free. You can't beat that, especially for cheapskates such as myself. It is also a perfect representation of what this genre is like, both in structure as well as its themes. The main gist of this game is that all of the girls have some sort of disability, and while this could have been the perfect recipe for something really distasteful, the result ended up being the complete opposite, with one really heartfelt and sincere story about overcoming your own obstacles and finding your true self. There is a reason why this game is still being discussed to this day, and there's quite literally nothing stopping you from downloading it and giving it a try right now. If you've ever searched for the greatest visual novels ever, surely you might have seen quite a few mentions of titles developed by a company named Key. They are well known for classics such as Clannad, Little Busters, and Rewrites. However, as fantastic as those titles may be, they do have one major drawback: their length. They are absolute behemoths. If you want to enjoy those games to their fullest, you're looking at more than 60 hours to finish just one of them. It's a hefty investment, and even if it's completely worth it, not everyone has that much free time on their hands. Fortunately, they do have some other shorter VNs, with their most popular one being Planetarian. This is basically a bite-sized Key VN that has all its trademarks while also being a VN that you can finish in a couple of sittings. It's a story set in a post-apocalyptic Earth where a scavenger meets by chance a companion robot inside an abandoned planetarium. Seeing their relationship develop as the scavenger slowly opens up to the robot is one of the game's strongest points, something that's truly commendable considering the short length of this story. This is definitely a must-read for those who want to experience a beautiful story. Are you a fan of visual novels? Are you enjoying this list? Then make the best decision that you will make today by hitting that subscribe button and that bell. If you love visual novels, then help us grow so we can spread the joy to a bigger audience as possible. And if altruism isn't on your agenda, then we're also giving away 2 Nintendo Switch games when we get to 3,000 subscribers, Super Mash and Lyrica 1 and 2. And I say this as we are giving away something once we get to 1,000 subscribers, but we may have passed that already, I don't know, at the time of recording. One of the main things that puts off people from trying VNs is their often slow and occasional sluggish pace. However, the Song of Saya is nothing like that at all. This is a VN that gets immediately to its fascinating premise. After surviving a serious vehicle accident, a medical student starts to perceive the world in a twisted manner. From his point of view, everywhere is now covered with rotten and disgusting flesh. Everything now tastes and smells putrid, and everyone looks like inhuman monstrosities. However, he's the only one who seems to see this world in this fashion. Right when he's starting to lose hope and his own sanity, he meets Saya, a mysterious girl and the only thing in this world that for some reason still looks normal. This is a horror story through and through, and one that will stick with you for a long time. Be warned, this VN can get quite intense at times, but if you can stomach it, there's really nothing like it out there. One of the most successful Japanese adventure game series ever, and for a good reason, the Ace Attorney series. While some will say that they aren't entirely what one would call a visual novel, there's no denying that the Ace Attorney series is still a really good entry point for this type of game, with its heavy focus on reading and some puzzle solving here and there. The latest game in the series, The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, even has an auto mode that basically turns the game into a kinetic visual novel. Great for those like me who panic when trying to make the choices during the trials. The reason why this is such a good game for newcomers is mainly its structure. Every game is divided into isolated episodes, each with their own mystery and unique characters. If you enjoy trying to solve murder mystery, slowly piecing together every clue that you can get your hands on, these games will be right up your alley. Great mysteries, great humor, great characters, just fantastic series no matter how you look at it. This series, especially the earlier entries, are on pretty much every platform possible. Links below in the description are to a handful of them, but not limited to. If you purchased it, then it also supports us at the same time. For those who have already played the Ace Attorney games or simply want something a little bit more intense, then look no further than the Danganronpa series. If there's something that makes Danganronpa immediately engaging, is its delightfully twisted premise. You wake up trapped inside a seemingly abandoned school alongside a group of students who are just as confused as you are. The peacefulness does not last long, as suddenly a weird looking bear called Monokuma appears out of nowhere, explaining to all of you how to escape. The rules are simple. If one wants to exit, they must first murder another student. Once the victim has been discovered, a trial will take place. During the trial, everyone must find who's the culprit. If they don't, the culprit gets to escape while the rest of the students will be executed. However, if the culprit is found out, the culprit will be executed and the rest will get to live for another day until the next murder takes place. It's a really fun story with lots of unexpected twists, as well as plenty of gameplay to spice things up. There are 3 mainline games with a recent collection available on the Nintendo Switch, but you'll also find them on the Vita, PS4, mobile, and of course PC. Links are below if you want to purchase them. Instead of solving murders, maybe you prefer to solve puzzles. Then the Zero Escape, the Nonary games might be exactly what you're looking for. This is a well-crafted sci-fi mystery story with excellent storytelling and many twists and turns. The games are written by Uchikoshi Kotaro, who is famous for making intricate and captivating plots. In this game, you wake up after being kidnapped alongside 8 other characters, and you must participate in a survival game if you wish to get out. This game originally released on the DS, where it found somewhat of a cult following. Nowadays, it's been released on both Steam and PlayStation, making it quite accessible for anyone who might be interested. If you want to know why so many people fell in love with this series back then there is no better time to find out. Let's continue this list with currently the most recently released title, at least as far as a Western release, Gnosia. This is a really interesting blend between visual novel and the classic werewolf mafia type gameplay. In this VN, you are trapped inside a time loop trying to find out what's truly going on, who or what the Gnosia are. Just like other titles in this list, this game also has quite a lot of actual gameplay as well as some RPG elements. During each loop, you will get to play a round of werewolf where you must find out which one of the crewmates has turned into a Gnosia and vote if they go into a cold sleep. Your gameplay options might seem limited at first, but the further you play, the more commands you will unlock, letting you better manipulate the other crewmates into siding with you. It's an elegantly designed game, both in its gameplay systems as well as its storytelling, and the short length of each loop makes it really hard to put down. Simply wanting to play just one more loop, an obscure modern classic that's like nothing else out there. It even featured on Switch Watcher's top 15 games of last year, whoever they are. Never heard of them. It's available in English, currently only on the Switch, but also coming to PC sometime in the spring. But enough about mystery and sci-fi, it's time for an epic fantasy story, and what a better example for that than the Utawarerumono games. This is a trilogy of games set in a medieval fantasy world with really interesting and complex lore, as well as an outstanding cast of characters. The 2 games in the duology, Mask of Deception and Mask of Truth, have some of the best character development of any video game series period. Now, out of all the games we have mentioned in this list, the Utawa are probably the longest to finish. However, These games also have quite a few strategy RPG gameplay segments to break up the constant reading. Not only that, but those gameplay moments are surprisingly enjoyable and really easy to understand, even if you've never played a single strategy RPG in your life. Trust me, I suck at these type of games, and Marion meant himself, but it's also relevant to me as well. We both suck, but still, we managed to understand it. Plus, these games have some of the most gorgeous art I've ever seen in a visual novel, and the soundtrack is simply masterful. If you're okay with spending a decent amount of playtime, these games will give you an experience like no other. Similar to the the previous game. This is another long-form VN that also has quite a lot of gameplay portions. This time, however, it's not turn-based strategy, but the polar opposite, a shockingly enjoyable beat-em-up brawler. Seriously, they could turn this into its own game, and it would be a massive hit. During these gameplay parts, you actually get to build your own combos using different types of weapons and moves. As for story itself, it's set in a ruthless cyberpunk world where people can hack into each other's brains, finding out their secrets and destroying their lives. This is a thriller story with lots of political drama and intense action. A great pickup for any cyberpunk fan. Keeping with the cyberpunk themes, our next game is Valhalla, and its subtitle accurately describes it. It's a cyberpunk bartender action game. This is in a way the polar opposite of Baldr Sky, being instead an extremely relaxing visual novel where all your worries will only be serving the right drinks to your loyal patrons. Meanwhile, you will get to listen to all the stories they have to tell, laugh at their jokes, and just simply having one of the chillest experiences in a video game. A great entry point for those who want a more laid-back story, plus who doesn't want to pretend you're Tom Cruise in the cyberpunk world. Doki Doki Literature Club is a fantastic entry point into the genre for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's not the longest experience if you just want to see the main point of the game and get one of the endings. It's only about 6 hours, but if you end up loving it, there's plenty more content to see and do. Plus, this Plus version includes even more content than before. But I would say it's a great entry point because it really can show you what visual novels are capable of. It shows you that there can be more than meets the eye. This is a very clever game that fools you into thinking it is something that it's not. It plays with the reader's minds, is very meta, but it is not for the faint of heart either. There is a reason we featured this cutesy looking slice of school life game on our horror visual novel list. This Plus version is available physically on the Switch, PS4 and PS5, and all I'll say is, Monica, best girl. And last but not least, the final recommendation in this video is not a single visual novel, but an entire developer, and that is Yuzusoft, the developer behind such games as Sabat of the Witch, Senran Banka, and Riddle Joker. Why? Because when it comes to quality, they have one of the most consistent track records out of any visual novel developer. Their games fall into the moege, a subgenre, which basically means a visual novel that focuses on romance, comedy, and a bit of, well, you know. This type of VN, of course, is aimed at male adults, but if you're looking for a cute but not too serious romantic story, then these games are just a joy to play. And those are our personal picks. What do you think? Do any of these pique your interest? And for those of you who are already fans of the genre, which visual novel was your first? Let us know in the comments. Maybe you will be able to inspire someone else to jump into the genre as well. That's going to be it for this video. Many thanks to Miguel Marion for writing and researching this. Please be sure to follow him on Twitter with the links below. He's an absolute legend. Plus you. Yeah, if you're an absolute legend too, then please leave me an emoji that signifies your favorite visual novel. I'll show you mine in the comments below. Show me yours. If you watched all the way through, then you are the kind of people who help us grow. So I want to see who watched to the end. Yeah. And also, please watch our other stuff. We have Otomes, the best Otomes on the Switch. We have 10 fantastic horror visual novels. Some of those that appeared in this list may appear on that one as well. Plus, we've got a lot of things coming, so please subscribe and hit that bell button. We'll see you guys next time.